Thanks for coming along to another video. This one is an instructional video. If you haven't got a Meteor, then it may not be of interest to you, so just bear that in mind. So recently I have had the Royal Enfield Meteor 350 in my possession. A wonderful, beautiful bike which I really took to, and was really impressed by its all-round capabilities, the comfort of the bike, and just a general feel of the way that the bike rides. Loved it. Really was a lovely bike. But my only one criticism was the rear suspension. Now, I know I'm not alone in that as well. I know other people have said similar things, that they do have an issue with the rear suspension. Me being me, I tried to think of a fix for it. Basically, I tried a couple things. I moved the preload on the rear end. That did help a little bit. I put it on the second notch, and that did make a big difference. But it still wasn't right. Now, I took the bike down to Teignmouth Bike Night, where there was another Meteor owner there, and I was saying to him that how much I liked the bike, but the suspension was not up to what I'd like. And by pure chance, he had a red one, which I went over to have a look at, and I noticed that he had different shocks on his. So I presumed that they were Hagon ones or some aftermarket, but what he'd actually done was he put Royal Enfield Hunter shocks on the back. He allowed me to take it around the block, and he said, well, you tell me what you think of it and if it's much of a difference. I'll tell you what, guys, the difference was massive. It was a huge difference compared to the normal suspension. So I'd done some ringing around, and I found out that the Hunter shocks were around, well, between, depending on what dealer you go to, between 35 and 40 pounds each. That might be plus the VAT. I didn't check that. So, but yes, it was cheap enough, and if I ever bought a Meteor, then that would be the first mod that I would do. That changes the bike altogether. Now, what you do have to bear in mind is that this is something which I found out, and it is untested. It may affect your warranty. It probably will affect your warranty if you was to do this yourself to your own bike. So do this at your own risk. The shocks are pretty much exactly the same. The bushes are slightly different from shock to shock, and the Hunter shocks has a 6mm higher center. As you can see in this picture, the Meteor has progressive springs. So it's quite tight at the bottom, and then it loosens up near the top, whereas the Hunter springs have an equal gap in between each filament there. So yeah, worked really well, and I was blown away how decent it was. So for the sake of spending £100 on a couple of shocks for the back, the difference was well, for me, it was just brilliant. It just solved that problem. Anyway, so that's that. That's the Meteor 350 suspension upgrade. Thanks very much to James for showing me his and his bike and letting me ride it around the block. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I guess I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Hope it helps. Goodbye.